So now we'll discuss identification of type of plastic. We use various plastics in our day-to-day life. How do we identify the type of plastic? We use many plastic items like plastic bottles, water bottles, teacups, computer keyboards, right? Carrying bags and plastic jars, many items, okay? Storage, food storage boxes, containers. So like many plastic items we see. Then how do we identify? Actually, the type of plastic is represented by a symbol in every plastic item. Now, if you can see, we identify on every plastic item that you see, we can see a triangle symbol like this, a triangle symbol like this. This triangle symbol is like a recycling code. It's called a recycling code. And within this triangular symbol, there is a number written. Generally, for example, if number 1, if you can identify the plastic items that are there in your house, you identify such a triangle symbol and written some number in it. Okay, right from water bottles, storage jars, even carry bags, plastic covers. You can see all these plastic items. You can find this symbol and a number is written at the center. And this number gives us the type of the plastic, right, that the object is made of. Let us see now, if the number within the triangular symbol is 1 and this 1 represents the type of plastic is PET. We used to say PET bottles, cool drink bottles are made of PET bottles and we used to say PET. Now you can see in most of the cases, number 1 is written in the triangle or it is also written as PET. PET is a type of plastic and it is abbreviated as polyethylene terephthalate. Polyethylene terephthalate. PET, right? If the code is number 2, we see HDPE. HDPE stands for high density polyethylene. Then we see another type 3. Code number 3 is PVC, is like polyvinyl chloride, abbreviated as polyvinyl chloride. Number 4, LDPE, it is low density polyethylene. Number 5, PP is like polypropylene. Number 6, we see PS, it is called polystyrene. These are the different codes. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What are these codes called? These codes are called resin identification codes. If number is 7, this number 7 represents all other type of fabric. If it is not coded properly or mixed with other plastics, then sometimes we see code number 7. This represents 7 is not specified plastic, whereas code number 1 to 6 they are a particular type of plastics. And this identification, this numbering, mentioning this type of code on a plastic items is generally useful while recycling the plastic. These are generally used for recycling. During the recycling of plastics, these codes are used. How are they used? Each type of plastic is collected separately into separate heaps and that plastic is melted again and to make a new items. This process is called recycling of plastics. For recycling, to identify the type of plastic, a number is generally printed on this plastic containers. These are the different types of plastics. Now you see, generally we might have heard the very famous plastics like PET is more famous. We used to say PET bottles. PVC, polyvinyl chloride, is used to make pipes, water pipes and all. LDPE is one of the more focused type of plastic. It stands for low density polyethylene. It is used to make micro, very ultra thin carry bags. These ultra thin carry bags, which are made up of LDPE, are actually banned by Indian government. Are actually banned. Why are they banned? Because this low density polyethylene, it doesn't decompose into the earth, right? It creates a earth pollution, a soil pollution, right? so that LDPE, since it takes very long time for decomposition, and this type of plastic, LDPE type of plastic, is banned from using it for making carry bags and all. Now let us look at plastics around us. Okay, nowadays without using plastics, our day cannot go ahead, cannot be completed. In every walk of our life, we are using plastics. For example, you see what is in my hand? It's a marker. With what material it is made up of? Plastic. Plastic is important and it is penetrated through human life these days, right? Without using plastic, human beings cannot complete their day and cannot do anything, right? And why plastic became that much popular? Earlier, like when plastic was first invented, the people were not much interested on plastic, but as years pass on, like people came to know the importance, like the advantage of using plastic over the traditional materials. What are the traditional materials used? Why plastics became so much popular, right? And also I'll tell you, nowadays if you say like don't use plastic, don't use plastic, plastic is hazardous, plastic is it's like a curse to the human life, right? We used to hear these words. You know, I'll tell you, actually plastic is a wonderful gift given to a human being, right? Why do I say plastic is a wonderful gift? Everyone saying outside plastic is not good, plastic is not good, we have to avoid using plastic. But what I am saying is plastic is a good gift given to humankind. Why? You want to know? You watch this video, I will tell you in this video, right? First let us see plastics. Before using plastics, what are the traditional materials used? Okay, let's say earlier, let's take storing containers. What were the storing containers earlier days, olden days? Obviously metal containers are used. Okay, let's say furniture. What was the material used olden days to make furniture? It was wood. Okay, now but you see, for example, water bottles, utensils, will see like water bottles, lunch boxes, like storing containers. Okay, they were made of metal. Okay, but nowadays you see storing containers are made of plastic, furniture is made of plastics, water bottles, lunch boxes, all are made of plastics. Okay, why plastic became so popular? Let us see. What happens if a furniture was also made using metals? We like heard metal chairs were there, like metal some beds frames were there, like that. If see storing containers, metals, what was the problem with it? We know first, where do we get metals from? We get metals from natural sources like earth's crust. The source of metal is a earth's crust. We get metals. The metal is a natural source. It comes from nature, right? Since it comes from nature, it is a limited source. It is a limited source, and you know, we also know metals they corrodes. Metals generally corrodes. They undergo corrosion. Corrosion means, like let's say rusting is a type of corrosion. Rusting of iron, we see iron chase. If any iron articles are made, they generally get rust, right? This is a problem. First one is metals are limited sources. Second one, metals generally corrodes. If furniture is made of wood, what is the problem with wood? First thing is, wood is a, you know, being it come from natural sources, it is obviously costlier, and second, it is spoils easily when water is in contact with water, in contact with any other chemicals, like wood gets spoiled. Wood gets spoiled, and it also attacked by wood bugs, right? These wood bugs spoil the wood, and water, other chemicals also spoils the wood. If it is made of metals, I already told you, it undergoes corrosion, right? Storing containers, for example, pickles. If you see pickles, can we store pickles in metal containers? No, generally, because they are reactive. Metals reactive with the substances present in the foods, right? Because of all these problems, right, plastic has evolved as a alternative material for all these purposes. Let's see, storing containers. If you see storing containers, plastic jars, plastic bottles everywhere, right? Earlier days, if people goes to market, they used to carry a box, a bag, a jute bag, okay, like that. But nowadays, if you go wherever, all carry bags are available, plastic carry bags are available, right? Which are generally more stronger than the natural fibers, right? Then furniture is made of plastic, plastic chairs, plastic table. We see water bottles, plastic bottles, namely like Tupperware bottles, right? Other different bottles are there. Lunch boxes are made of plastic. So everywhere plastic, right from, morning when you wake up, we brush our teeth. We brush with a toothbrush. Toothbrush is made of plastic, right? Then we generally use other plastic, ceramic plates, like ceramic. Original ceramic is natural source, but ceramic like materials have come, which are also a special type. It's called melamine plastic. Ceramic, the plates, that cups that we use, the bottles that we use, they all are actually plastic, right? And every walk of our life, we'll be using pens to write, right? The covers, okay, to cover our notebooks, the raincoats, everywhere is plastic. Okay, so this plastic, what make plastic so advantageous, so better than the traditional material? Let's say first one, plastic is unreactive. Plastic is unreactive with water, unreactive with other chemicals used, unreactive with air, right? So it doesn't get corrosion. Plastic doesn't get corrosion. That is first way, very major advantage of plastic. And second one, plastic is unbreakable. Plastic is unbreakable, whereas natural sources like wood, you see glass was also another traditional material, glass or clay, right? These are also traditional material used in olden days, but even glass and clay was also replaced by plastic. And what's the problem? You see, if it may be wood, metal, or it may be wooden, glass or clay, whatever the items made, if they are fell down, generally if they are fall down, what happens generally? They breaks, right? Whereas plastic, if plastic bottle is generally, if it is fall down, what happens? Will it break? Most of the bottles are generally unbreakable unless the bottle or the plastic item is made of very cheap plastic. It breaks, but most of other plastics are made generally unbreakable. They are waterproof, right? They are very strong, they are very durable. Plastics are very durable. Plastics can be made different items in different sizes, different shapes. You can go to a plastic shop. What happens? If you see in a plastic shop, you see various items, whatever, from the very small boxes to very huge storing boxes, all sizes are available, which are made of plastics. Different shapes are there, different colors it is available. But can we get metals in different colors? Okay, they are just painted, but that paint will go very soon. In case of plastics, they are made into different colors, right? They are very strong, different sizes, different shapes are used. Okay, so these are the many advantages of plastic. That is why I say plastic is a wonderful gift given to the humankind. But why do people say outside like plastic is dangerous, plastic is hazardous, we should not use plastic, we should avoid using plastic? Why are they saying? Because whenever anything, generally if it is used in limited, it will be good for the humankind. Whenever overuse of anything, it causes, it is dangerous to the human kind, right? Earlier when plastic was made, it was made to make life so comfortable and more better, okay, and to overcome the problems which are faced by all the traditional material. Plastic was made, but what happened? These plastic, excess use of plastic, overuse of plastic, what happened? Improper dispose and overuse, excess use of these plastics make generally these plastics, as we know, they are generally do not decompose in the earth. Like this is one disadvantage we can say, right? Because whatever natural sources, you may say clay, glass, metals, wood, anything, they generally decomposes in its crust. But whereas plastic takes thousands of years to decompose into the Earth's crust. This is a major drawback disadvantage, so that there are, even to avoid this problem, like what problem it causes. First, let's see. It doesn't decompose into the soil soon. It take very long time. Then when we use plastic properly, wisely, what happens? Plastic is really a gift to the human. Okay, like I use plastic bottle, which is unbreakable. I use plastic raincoats, which are waterproof. I use plastic boxes, which are available in different sizes, right? And moreover, plastic is cheaper than the traditional material. For example, if I want to purchase a wooden chair costs a lot. Wooden chair costs in thousands. But if I want to purchase a plastic chair, it is affordable for everyone. It is less expensive, right? In hundreds, we'll get a plastic materials, like anything. If I want to purchase a metal box is expensive than a plastic box. We can purchase a plastic box of a better quality of 100 rupees, 150 rupees, we get it, right? So we say plastics is relatively cheaper, but I told you, if we can use plastic wisely, it is really a gift. But what we do generally, we don't use plastics properly. We misuse the plastic, we overuse the plastic. Because of this overusing plastic, what happens? We generally use the plastics and we throw. Use and throw culture. Use and throw plastics. These use and throw plastics, what happen when they are generally thrown in like improper disposal? What happens? They settle on a Earth's crust, and since they cannot decompose easily, they form a layer of plastic on the Earth's surface, right? In the different layers of Earth, every layer we see plastics, and all these plastics making an artificial layer of the Earth. These plastics, what do? They generally absorb more heat, and that heat energy they trap, whereas natural layers of Earth generally reflect back the heat, but these plastics generally trap the heat. As a result, the temperature on the surface of Earth increases. This average increase in the temperature on Earth's surface leads to global warming, and that leads to different natural disasters, like unpredictable weathers and all are caused by this excess use of plastics, right? But when we wisely use plastics, we can overcome most of the problems created by plastic, right? These are various uses of plastics, and what are the advantages of plastics. Okay, now let us see how are plastics made. I told you, like many other synthetic fibers, these plastics are also made of polymers. But what's the difference in making synthetic fibers and plastics? Here plastics, the polymers are arranged in different ways. Okay, these polymers, each polymer, there are two ways of arrangement. One is a linear arrangement of polymers. Second is cross-linked arrangement of polymers. Because of this various arrangements of plastics leads to different type of plastics that we discussed in the previous topic, right? There are different kinds like PET, PVC, HDPE, LDPE, polystyrene, polypropylene. Like all those fibers, different type of plastics are generally made in two different ways of arranging. That is, one is linear arrangement of polymers. Second one, cross-linked arrangement of polymers. Let us see in case of first, linear arrangement, linear linkage. In linear linkage, one polymer is arranged with another polymer like a straight chain. That gives us a type of plastics. Whereas this kind of plastic generally melted on heating and can be generally recycled. In case of second way, cross-linked polymers, they are like linked with many other polymers, like one polymer linked with two or more other polymers, so it becomes so rigid, and this type of plastics can't be melted on heating. It is because of these different types of linkage of polymers made plastics so unique, and these are made used to make different sized, different shaped, different colored objects made of various types of plastics. So these polymers, like which are used for making plastics, are differently arranged and gives different like desired properties, desired shapes, sizes, colors of the different types of plastics. Types of plastics. There are generally, one is thermoplastics, second one is thermosetting plastics. Let us see first type, thermoplastics. To identify this type, generally let's see, can we store hot water in a normal bottles that we purchase outside, like let's say cooling bottles, right? Or a soft bottles, PET bottles. Are they suitable for storing hot water? Absolutely, they're not suitable. Why are they not suitable? If you take hot water into normal water bottles they get melted because of the hot water, because of that high temperature. That bottle generally melted, right? Whereas other bottles, like there are some flask type of material, some hard plastic, let's say Tupperware, right? And nowadays we say some of the plastics are used in micro ovens, right? They are in ovens, though they are heated to high temperature, they don't melt generally. Okay, whereas if you use normal, okay, plastics in oven, they generally melts. You can see a symbol, oven symbol, just under beneath the print, you can see, which is microwave, can be used for microwaves, and some plastics are not used for microwaves. Why some are used, some are not used? Because it depends on type of the plastic that we use. So generally the plastics that gets melted on heating are called thermoplastics. Thermoplastics are the plastics they melts on heating, right? And this type of plastics generally we see PET bottles is a thermoplastic. Let's say LDPE is a thermosetting plastic, right? Sorry, thermoplastics, which generally melts on heating. And why they melts? What is common in all thermoplastics? Because all thermoplastics are prepared by linear linked polymers. This linear linked polymers made the plastic soft when they heated, and such plastics are called thermoplastics. Next, second type, thermosetting plastics. I told you some other bottles, even they are heated, they do not melt generally. Okay, for example, let's say the switches of the electric boards, do they melt on heating? They do not melt on heating. Imagine if they melt on heating, what would happen, right? Switchboards generally produces heat energy. They used to melt. Okay, fuse material. So nowadays everything made of plastics, right? Let's say in kitchen we use many utensils, right? In kitchen utensils, let's say pressure cooker. What is the handle of the pressure cooker made up of? It is plastic. What would happen if it is made up of the same metal? If it is metal handle other than plastic handle, what would happen? Can we touch it to hold the pressure cooker when being used for cooking? No, we cannot hold it. When you hold it, we get the burn injury, because we know metals are the good conductors of heat, whereas plastic is a bad conductor of heat. Now, if you see, instead of in case of metal, if you use a thermoplastics as a handles of the utensils, what would happen when they are heated? When the utensil is heated, the thermoplastic would melt, right? And it is not suitable for that particular purpose. But the handles that we use for cooking utensils, pressure cookers, though they are heated, they do not melt. Such plastics are called thermosetting plastics. Thermosetting plastics do not melt on heating. Such type of plastics are generally used where thermal stability is required. What does mean by thermal stability? It is the ability to bear heat without melting. Okay, it's called thermal stability. So in laboratories, in cooking utensils, right, in electrical components, this thermosetting plastics are generally used. So where they are used in cooking utensils, generally thermosetting plastics are used because they do not get melted. And what made thermosetting plastics are bear high temperatures without getting melting? That is, the reason is cross-linked arrangement. Cross-linked polymers make them thermally stable. So the polymers are arranged like this. During this arrangement, what happens? These polymers become very stationary, intact to their positions, and even though such plastics are heated, these polymers cannot change their positions, right? And this makes thermoplastics are very stable even towards a heat, whereas thermoplastics cannot melt. So on this topic, oftenly you get a type of question like what happens if handles of cooking utensils are made of thermoplastics instead of thermosetting plastics? You can find the answer in the video which I've already explained, right? You may also get what sort of plastics are used in making switchboards and why, right? We need a material used to make switchboards which can bear the high temperatures. Okay, so and also it must be electrically bad conductor, right? Electrically bad conductor. So all the plastics are actually bad conductors of electricity. They do not react with air, they do not react with water, right? So they do not react with most of other chemicals, and it's unreactive with acids and as well. Okay, now we see pickles are generally not stored in metal containers because metals reacts with the pickle, the acids present in a pickle, and get spoiled. So earlier days, jade, right? Jades, the material which is made of, like the items which are made of ceramic, the jade material was used to store the pickles, right? But nowadays, where do we store pickles? The pickles are stored in plastic, never stored in metal containers, because metals react with the acids present in the pickles, whereas plastic being unreactive. Okay, because of all these reasons, like plastics are used. These are the two types of plastic: thermoplastics and thermosetting plastics. I hope you understand that these two types of plastics, and I also hope this video is more informative to you. Okay, thank you for watching this video.